Hello and welcome back to the Feminine Rising podcast. My name is Amber Marino. Hello to you on YouTube and hello to everyone over listening on Spotify. Hello, welcome. I don't know which platform you're choosing today, so I just have to say hello to everyone and make sure we're all getting the same kind of love. This is a balance I try to do here at the household with three cats who have very much separate individual needs. And if you're a parent, you probably know what I'm talking about, or just a pet owner in general, you know what I'm talking about. Two things we're going to talk about today. The first one, let's go ahead. If you're on YouTube, you're going to be able to see, I think I showed this to you last time. Did I not? I don't think I did in the first video podcast that I did. So this is actually a septarian. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. Septarian. So this crystal, it looks like a dinosaur egg for those that can't see on the tubes, but it's cool because it has like a little womb here. It has like a crack in there, so you could see like crystals in there forming. So I don't know how hollow it is or not, but I think that's really cool. And so I bring this with me to my podcasting station because this crystal, Septarian, helps opening with the throat. And it actually really helps with public speaking and those types of things. And then it also helps with grounding as well. And it also allows you for more tolerance and patience, emotional flexibility. And, you know, if for whatever reason you have some kind of ailment or anything like that, you can put an intention into it and it will actually absorb the negative energy from that illness. So I love this crystal. It's new in my home. It's the newest crystal that I own, and it's my baby. It's at my podcasting station. So I had to share because it's part of the family, you know? And we don't have a name for it yet. Oh yeah, also it helps to open the root chakra. So the throat and the root are actually connected. I'm going to talk about this more, I think, over on my, well, I don't know I don't know where I'm going to talk about it more, but I need to start talking about it more, I think, because it's a pretty valid point. Our throat and our wombs look and are structured very similarly. And if you want to see for yourself, just look up a diagram. That's there. It's science. It's not like I'm making this up or a new ager made this up for, you know, their own benefit or anything like that. It's just a fact of what exists and how the world works and how women's bodies are. And I think it's really, really cool. Let's go ahead and jump into the next topic, shall we? I think this is a powerful one. So if you don't follow me over on Instagram already, it's at I am Amber Moreno. And on there, I post basically daily on my stories, at least posts and feeds. You know, it depends really if there's an inspiration. So I have an open head in human design. So things come and go. I'm like Kelly Bundy. I joke about it, but it's true. Minus I do retain information, but you know what I mean? Like ideas come and go really, really quick. It's not like, oh, I great have a great idea. Like it doesn't download as quickly. My husband it does, and it's pretty he's the idea guy sometimes. But anyways, let's reel it in here. So what I wanted to talk about. So over on Instagram, and this was earlier this week, it might have been on Monday actually. I posted about cold plunging. And this is why the whole conversation sparked. And I was speaking about it with my other business mentor. So I technically have two business mentors, but one I actually use more like a business mentor, and my other one is more of my shaman/medicine mentor. I was talking to my business mentor, and she and I had a very good conversation about doing things to prove yourself. And she felt like the energy of which I was experiencing my cold plunge or wanting to do it was coming from a proving energy rather than a, you know, I'm doing this for my benefit type of energy. And I could agree with her there. I could see how she could see that, and I can see how I was doing that. At the time, I didn't take it in a way of like getting triggered or anything like that. Like, you know, like some people when they talk to you and they call you out on your shit and it's, oh, I can't say that word. Sorry, YouTube. But they call you out, right? And they tell you, oh, you know, you shouldn't be doing that or whatever. This is my opinion on it. And it's like, how is that helpful at all? But the way she worded it was very eloquently and just asking a question of like, you know, who are you trying to prove this to yourself? Is this coming from like a health thing? And I had to sit with that and really ask myself, like, yeah, what am I trying to prove? I know in the beginning I was trying to prove to myself that I could do it, and I did it. I think the second time I did it, yes, for health benefits, but there was still a proving energy behind it, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't until I had a really good conversation after another good conversation after with my other mentor, my shaman medicine mentor, that, there's never going to be this forcing of things. And there shouldn't be, especially when you're holding containers and things in the space. And so I thought this was a very good conversation because when we're opening our businesses or we're trying new things or we're doing the 75 hard or whatever people like to do, right? Where is that energy coming from? Is it approving energy or is it a, like a health and benefit? Like, oh, I want to do this for me type of thing. Perfect example. I had an ex boyfriend that did not appreciate the fact that I would get dressed up every time we would go out. I don't think he cared much. His value on his list was not non-existent, right? He didn't value himself, and therefore he didn't really value me, but that's neither here nor there. But the point of it is, I liked to get dressed up, and every time I would dress up, I felt good for me, right? Because I know I was doing it for me, even though he would bitch and moan. Who cares? Whatever. He's no longer in the picture anyway. But you know what I mean? But there's other people, and I've been guilty of this, especially been guilty of this when I'm going to like special events. I care way too much about what others are going to, like, how they're going to perceive me and what they're going to think about me in that moment and how I look. Like, are they going to judge my shoes, my dress, and all these things? And it was because I was judging myself for what I'm wearing, right? But I didn't know that at the time. But again, it's that proving energy of like, I need to prove that, I'm beautiful, or I need to prove that I have it together because I can afford this outfit and I look good in it. Or even if I don't afford it, like I look good because whatever, versus like wearing whatever it is because you feel good in it. Right. My husband made a good point, is not to like put anyone down or anything. It's just, something that we both noticed. We're both projectors, and I needed to find a dress for my embodiment shoot that's coming at the end of this intensive that I'm going to, which I'll talk about a little bit in just a minute. And so I knew I would probably find what I wanted on a lower cost website. I always feel guilty shopping here, so I need to. I promised myself that this year I will stop shopping here. Shein, one, because it's fast fashion, but they do really have like really quick stuff that you can get for cheap when you need it. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard not to at the same time. It's that first world problems here. Or I'll order off of Temu, which it's a little better, but it's still fast fashion. I don't know. Anyways, off topic. But yeah, so I found my dress, my embodiment dress off of Shein, and it's literally only two people or three people are going to know, but it's literally the same dress that I wore at my retreat, the red one, and I have some pictures I think posted on my Instagram. But anyways, so I found my dress. Now I only paid like $25, not much. I got two dresses because budget, I also got some cute shawls because I feel like when I want to be myself and I think of like, okay, what is the woman that I want to be? Do I want to be like this, ooh, like really like, like vixen nymph type of goddess, which I've never been. Like, that's just not like, I can step into that role for my husband, but like I don't always step into that role. Like, I feel like I'm really truly that role in summer, and that's about it. And then the rest of the year, I'm me, where I'm wearing like literally how I'm on Instagram. Like, I wear pretty casual clothes. I'm pretty trendy. I hate to say that, but it's true. Like, I love trends. Like, to be off trend makes me gag unless it's my style. You know what I mean? It's the fashionista in me. She's still there. But coming back to the dress, I ordered the same one, a different color is the longest story longer of what I'm trying to say here. I really think it's going to be cute because that is who I am. Like, I am simplicity. I want to add jewelry. But again, when I feel embodied, what does that look like and feel like? And so for me, it's apparently a 20 something dollar dress. For other women, it's a more expensive dress. And so I started to feel guilty. Like, should I have been buying that dress? Like, why am I not, like, you know what I mean? And so this is where then when I was saying, where are you trying to prove something? Because I know that for me, if I was to go and find like a gown or something, right? Like, we're going dress shopping, we're going to a wedding type of status, it would be from a very much proving energy. It would not be the true Amber that I know she is, who loves to get a bargain and a deal because she knows, because she's grew up in fashion and can sew a dress if she wanted. which I might one day. Been contemplating making my own clothes, to be honest. I just don't have the room where we currently live, and which is why I'm manifesting a bigger house, a big house with a bigger yard in the back, not in the front, with privacy fencing in the front would be great. you know. But anyways, neither here nor there. But my point is again with that proving energy. Where is it coming from? Why is it showing its face? And is there any way I can reflect in those moments on myself? Like, why am I trying to prove? Who am I trying to prove? And if it's no one, okay, well then like why? Like what's the deeper meaning behind it? Because I know that it's never for nothing, right? So, for example, like I was mentioning earlier, like when I know I will dress for others versus myself, one, I don't feel comfortable in what I'm wearing usually. And I'm questioning the whole time if I look okay until someone gives me a compliment. Sometimes they do, most of the time they don't. And usually, the time I get compliments is the days where I didn't put any effort. I just picked whatever felt good and threw it on. Those are the days I will get compliments because I'm not coming from this proving energy, right? But the days that I'm like, oh, um, I'm just using this as an example. I need to go to court. I need to find something that's court appropriate. You know what I mean? It's the proving energy behind it, right? I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I don't know. But it was a good conversation to have. And it started with the cold plunging, which was interesting. And really quick, I do want to talk about the cold plunging actually before we talk about the intensive I'm going to. And so I'm learning more and more about cold plunging. So one thing about me is I will try almost anything one time. I say almost anything one time because there are some things that I do know exist that I have been encouraged to do, and I'm just not going to do them. I think I don't want to call it a name, but whatever you think I want to call it, that's what it is to me in my brain because like I do my research. Like I'm a two line. I don't go as deep as like a one line where they're my husband, where they're like, you know, you get a bill and you're reading every little line. And where versus me, I'm like, okay, it's this much, it's due here, I'm gonna pay it, whatever. It's like, okay, well, who's it from? How much? Is this the correct amount? Is this the account number that I remember? But I do check out things to a certain degree to make sure that they are safe. The risk is something that I want to take for myself. Because in this life, it's a balance between taking risks and being comfortable. And sometimes we have to take the step to take risks. And that goes with trialing and erroring on yourself with your health, right? When it comes to like biohacking, that's taking a risk on your health, depending on how healthy you are, depending on the body that you have, all of these factors come in, right? What diseases you could already have. How you eat is a huge one. For me, when it comes to cold plunging, I just, everyone's doing it. I need to do it sometimes. Again, I'm an open head. I don't have my own ideas sometimes. It just doesn't, it's not a thing. Actually, I don't ever. I'm not gonna lie. I usually get ideas from other people and I'm inspired and then I create based off of that. And no offense, sometimes it's a better version. But you know what I mean? But so I wanted to get on the cold plunging thing because I heard tons of benefits. I saw the Wim Hof documentary, like the whole thing. There's obviously science behind it that proves that it does help. I listened to other sources that have their own opinions on it. And when it comes down to it, do I think that I need to cold plunge? Probably. But do I think I need to submerge my whole body? No. Parts of my body, yes. And this is where I believe why taking cold showers is tougher, but works a little bit better depending on the area of the body. So I'm learning more that I look into this. Most of our lymphatic system, in order for cold plunging to work in that type of way, you have to submerge from the head down. Like you have to. It can't be from the feet up because there's no lymphatic system until we hit the thigh. That's way up there. So your poor legs are just like, getting frozen for whatever, our legs go through so much. We put so much through on them, but you know what I mean? And so I'm learning that obviously, and I've known this, which is why I'm like, duh, but again, it takes me a minute sometimes, right? We have all these lymph nodes in our face. So on the sides of our face, where our cheeks are, like on the ears, up in that area, the canals and all the ear canals, they all rest in the sides. If you see me here on the video, I'm touching the areas where our lymph nodes live. And then they go down the neck in here. And then they go down into like our underarms, which my left one's kind of sore a little bit, and into the armpits. There's some in our breast areas. That goes for both men and women. And then we don't have any more until we get to the genitals and into the thighs. So this is why I'm saying, but I need to work on my root. So I definitely believe that doing cold plunge sits, not totally submerging my whole torso, just doing from my waist down to make sure I was going to say encapsulating, but submerging that root chakra in that cold water, even if it's just for 2 minutes to help it to release some of that tension and some of the inflammation that's probably sitting in that womb area as well. So that's why I'm going to do it. I was challenged to try to do by my business mentor to do a face ice plunge, which I highly encourage that one also. I haven't done it in a really long time, but oh my God, that is the challenge. You want to wake up, girl, you will not drink coffee no more. Put your face in the ice bowl. Trust me. It's so good. But you have to go all the way in, like to your ears, because again, you're trying to hit those lymph nodes, right? The lymphatic system on your face. You could also do ice globes or ice packs as well. So cold isolation is really good as well when you have pains. Obviously, we know that. So when you get an injury, it doesn't matter. Put ice on it, because what the ice ultimately does, it doesn't just drain and help release the lymphatic system, but it also attracts your blood cells to that area. So when your blood cells get to that area, because it's cold, it's sending an immune response to the body that says, hey, we need to heal whatever's happening here. It's not right. That's like when you get really, really hot and when you get really, really cold, that's what goes on. So that's just my information that I have been studying and understanding. And so that's really where the whole conversation kind of stemmed from. And I wanted to kind of share a little bit about that because it seems to be a popular movement that's continuing on, especially in the biohacking community. My husband's really into biohacking. I think it's cool. I don't really like I'm into it, but I'm not like that. But I'm always about optimizing myself as best as I can, which is why I basically am vegan now, which is a whole nother story for another day. We'll do another podcast on that. But yes, so intensive. So the intensive that I'm attending to is I'm leaving on Sunday, this Sunday actually. So when you hear this podcast, depending on what day it is, I might be already there. I have the schedule already. I have to look over it again. But the intensive, so this is going to be 2 weeks. I will be not here, meaning not in Phoenix. I'll be up in Sedona, and I'm going to be learning what is called a psychic breathwork training. So this is going to be trauma informed, which I have been wanting to be trauma informed for a while, probably over a year and a half now. I've been wanting to do this type of work because I didn't know how to hold space for people in those moments at those times because I had not yet also gone through my own healing journey enough. But the quantum leaps and bounds that I have made over this not even 2 years. It's amazing. Like, well, once you start doing things in alignment for yourself, you'll go places really, really quickly. That's all I'll say. But I'm really so honored and blessed to be led through this trauma informed intensive also because one, a really good friend is teaching it and she's amazing, has so much knowledge. And then two, again, it comes back to I want to learn how to hold space in a manner that I'm not creating harm or causing harm, right? I believe that everything that we do, and that includes everyone, everyone, everything that we do should be in love. It should be holding the light. You might not be light, right? You could be darkness, quote unquote. But as long as you're holding that lantern to shine the light, that's what matters. And so my husband and I talk about this sometimes. Like if me and him, we don't see ourselves as light workers, we see ourselves as shadow workers because light workers, they're already working in the light constantly. Their light workers' jobs are to go in and find the darkness to pull out. Shadow workers, we're looking for the light in that darkness and we're going to make that light shine bright as can be. Well, I shouldn't say we're going to make it. We're going to inspire it to shine, right? As bright as it could be. And that is what the difference is. They're basically kind of doing the same thing. It's just the way you go about it. And a lot of people, including myself, at least this was my experience, I worked with light workers prior to working with shadow workers because shadow work can be really, really hard and I don't want to say hard, challenging. you know, with some of the things that you have to move through. And if you are so like hard like a stone, right? Cracking you open is going to break and shatter you, which sometimes people need, but I don't believe it needs to be that way, right? So I worked with a lot more light workers, the love and light. Okay, help me. There's so much distress. The world as I knew it was crumbling. Everything was a lie. Like everything was a lie. It still is. It's just I have coped with it now. But I did that through light workers. And now I'm stepping into my shadow phase. I've been working a little bit more with shadow workers. Some of them don't even know that they're shadow workers, but they are. And this is what's really been helping me to illuminate things on my end, what I need to work on, because I know that if I need to work on that, someone else does too. So I'm actually failing them by not working on myself and in being in my true self. Does that make any sense? So you have to kind of see life that way. And that's the perspective shift. My husband always asks, like, oh, you make everything sound so simple and everything's a reflection. But that's literally what I just explained. That's the perspective shift right there. That's like a golden nugget. Just hang on to that. It left my brain. I don't know what I said. I'm glad I'm sharing this with you. But when we make that, life gets easier, but it all comes through all of the work, the shadow work, the light work. But so this intensive again is going to help me to be a better shadow worker. I'm going to be learning and understanding breathwork modalities that I have already know. I know most of the ones that I'm being retrained in again. But there's also, like I said, new ones, the psychic breath one. And then I'm also creating my own breathwork process that will take place. And I'm calling it, well, I won't give a name on here because I don't know for sure if I'm going to go with the name, but I really like the name so far. Just know that my goal is for everyone that I encounter to experience themselves in an authentic way with no apology. Like, boom, I'm here. And I think this is why part of me really likes like the LGBTQ movement as much as people are have their own feelings, right? Because yes, I agree like we should not have pride, but you need it to a certain degree because though that individual that can embrace who they are and you know who I'm talking about, like the really authentic people in those communities, they don't give a flying F. And that's how I want to live my life. I got to show up like me. And if we don't, hello, look at where we are. Just look around. Just notice things. That's it. That's all I'm going to say on that. But the authenticity is what I strive for. I want everyone to experience that, even if it's for a second with me, like just a second. My job here is done. Anyway, that's enough jabbing my jaws for today. I don't know how long I went. I don't have a timer anymore. I need to get a little timer so I'm not like overbearing everyone with my commentary. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. The end, okay. I'm trying to get better at endings. I do the same thing in real life. I don't know how to, I just usually, I need to start saying, I feel complete now. Sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. And have a beautiful rest of your week. And I will definitely not be seeing you next week, but there will be an episode up next week. So until then, I'll see ya when I see ya.